homemade traditional Peruvian dessert, alfajores, basket of ham, beef, turkey, veggie gourmet sandwiches. Call Giveaways Catering, phone number 778-245-3007.
I would say yes. Challenges because it was a different culture. You know that in Latin America, children are used to stay even when they are 30 years old. It's fine if they live with their parents, for example.
And what I mean by this is that your workplace is very likely going to be very diverse. So you'll work with people who may have come from all over the world.
Because of the bad things that happen, and that's what I want to represent, the Mother Earth, the mother that will always be there for us, and because that's where we all come from.
Christian Basantes came to Vancouver in 2002 just for studying the English language for 1 year. However, our guest became an eternal international student for many years. Our guest also told us that, meanwhile, he got a workplace where he could study, gain money, and play soccer. What kind of job was that? Christian Basantes from Ecuador is our guest in our Tell Us Your Story segment.
Absolutely. September 2002, well, that's when I came to Canada, Vancouver, in exactly September 6, I remember. And my idea was study one English year at the Vancouver English Center. I signed for a program of, the studies were about grammar, TOEFL, all the English skills, right? And part of my program was a business program where I had to take 3 months of classes and then 3 months of internship in a Canadian company. So yeah, that was my initial plan here. Yeah. Well, yeah, in 2003, it's August already, and my time was about to end, I mean. And yeah, I had a few conversations with my mom, my dad, and especially he was telling me that the situation is not right now in Ecuador. If you come back, you may come back to your old job where you were not really happy and made not a good salary to start a good life, right? So my dad had the idea, why don't to study something to complement my business administration studies, right? And then I say, okay, but do we have the resources? And he said, yeah, we can do it. All right. So I went to ask some professionals, some people who were already living here, especially from the company I was working with, Manning Elliott, CA. And some professionals advised me to go to BCIT, to the Financial Management Diploma Program. It's the best you can do right now. Well, actually, yeah, this was a Canadian family that I lived with in North Vancouver. That was during my English year. They were my homestay because the school got them for me. The Vancouver English Center got them for me. So they were nice people. They were giving me food. They were giving me a house to stay, right? However, I didn't feel part of their family. Sometimes during weekends they were doing their own plans and they didn't include me, actually. In Christmas time they invite me for dinner, in Thanksgiving as well they invite me for dinner, but some details, sometimes some conversations I felt that I wasn't part of them. Yeah. I left that house because I was moving to Burnaby to study at BCIT, not because they were really bad with me. However, I think I wouldn't last for more than 2 months extra there, honestly. Yeah. I would say yes. Challenges because it was a different culture. You know that in Latin America, children are used to stay even when they are 30 years old. It's fine if they live with their parents, for example. But here I noticed that that's totally different. What I noticed is after children become 18 or 19, they are free to go, right? Or in most cases, no, you better go. And because at that time I was 24, maybe that was the reason that they didn't, feel that they should really take care of me a lot, maybe. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt, I guess. Yeah. But I left that house because main reason I was moving to Burnaby, and I was looking for a place closer to BCIT, more convenient. I was already an international student since I was studying here, since I had a study visa, right? And since I was an ESL student, right? When I went to BCIT I entered as an international student there because my study permits also say that, and also the welcoming program I had to take was the Business Management Studies program, since that was the first step in order to become a full-time student there. I used my TOEFL score to get accepted there, and I was one of the two Latin American students in the program in the first time. It was another Brazilian girl, and it was me from Ecuador. The rest of them, the students, were Chinese. Yeah, and that was the beginning of a long career in BCIT, because after a year I finished the business management studies, and then I had to take extra courses in order to qualify to get accepted for the second year of financial management. Well, the student ambassador position was a job that was open to a student of BCIT, any student, to work as a campus tour guide. Since I was already at BCIT, I became really involved in the community, volunteering for many events that happened in the school. And when I saw this position, I thought that, well, it's a good opportunity to become more involved in the school and also to help new students and also start making some money here in Canada, right? This student ambassador position was sponsored by the marketing department, and mostly consisted in doing campus tours for visitors and new prospective students, and also assisting in big events of the school, of BCIT, like the big open house and like the big info sessions that they have during the year. Well, that's already in February 2007, my graduation. After many years of study at BCIT, I applied for the opportunity to become the valedictorian of the graduating class. And thank God I got it, and I had to deliver a speech in front of 300 people, including students, parents, all relatives. My mom had the chance to come here to see me in the graduation. My dad unfortunately couldn't come, but it was a really good experience. It was really amazing to say how proud I was to be part of the school and also becoming a graduate. At the end of the speech, people were really happy. It was very an emotive moment, and that moment I felt I was putting myself and my country on high, on the top, representing my country well. Well, that's. Let's go back. That fantastic job it happens during 2006-2007. I was still at BCIT as a student, but since I couldn't get a job out of BCIT because of my immigration condition, I was still as an international student. I had the opportunity to become an employee in the marketing department, assisting the events, the event planning, and also at the same time I was working there. I was making money, and at noon at this place, instructors, teachers, employees have the chance to play soccer during lunchtime. So that was something I was doing every day except Thursdays. And it was good because I also became friends with great professionals who work in the high level at that school. It was a good time because, as I said, I was working, I was making money, and also playing my passion.
Imagine that at your workplace, You have to work with co-workers from Japan, China, Iran, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, you name it. How can we cope with different behaviors or traditions in our job? Employment tip segment next.
Hi, I'm Gwen Pawlikowski, and this is the Employment Tips segment. And today I'd like to talk about adapting to the Canadian workplace. Now, if this is your first time working in Canada, you probably will not be at all surprised to know that the people that you see at work are going to be probably very representative of the people that you see walking down any street in downtown Vancouver. And what I mean by this is that your workplace is very likely going to be very diverse. So you'll work with people who may have come from all over the world, and you'll work with people who may speak many different languages, and their English will have all kinds of different accents as well. You'll work with men and women, right? You'll work with people of different sexual orientations. You'll work with people who are able-bodied and people also who may have some kind of disability. The thing about working in the Canadian workplace is that we're all trying to be accepting of everyone else. So one of the things that you'll notice in the Canadian workplace is that people tend to be fairly friendly, especially in the beginning of the week and then toward the end of the week. So it's really common on a Monday morning, for instance, for coworkers to chat for 10 or 15 minutes, maybe while they get their coffee or hang up their coats. It's super common that someone will say to you, "Hey, how was your weekend?" Right? And you're supposed to give, kind of a basic answer like, "Well, it was good. I went to a movie," or, it was kind of a quiet weekend because it rained all weekend," or whatever, right? Like, not too negative, but, we have a lot of rain, so that's always a good topic. And then it's your job to also ask your coworker, "How was your weekend?" Right? So again, ask the question, "How was your weekend?" Your coworker will say yes or no. And then after about 10 minutes, that's it. We go on with our work. And then this all happens again on a Friday afternoon. What are you going to do on the weekend? And so on. All right? So we're kind of polite and respectful about people's personal time. We do ask about it, but we don't, invade people's private lives too much. So, for instance, we're not asking someone, when are you going to have children or anything that personal, right? We're just asking really safe topics like, what are you going to do on the weekend, or have you seen this movie, or whatever, okay? Now, because this might be a little bit different than your previous culture, on this topic and on many, many topics, if you're not sure what to do or what to say in the Canadian workplace, you should know that you should always ask, right? There are lots of things people are confused about when they start working in Canada. For one thing, the Canadian workplace is probably much less formal than a place like Korea, for instance. So there's a good chance that you're going to call your boss by her first name or his first name, right? You're probably not going to call her Ms. or Mrs. something. You're probably going to call her by her first given name, right? Same with your coworkers. Like, almost everyone in the company will be probably called by their first name. We just have that sort of informal atmosphere in the Canadian workplace, and especially here on the West Coast. Again, let me get back to this point. If there's something that you're not clear about, then definitely ask. we have lots of company events, right? Sometimes some companies, people eat lunch together. You know, are you not sure about bringing this or that to a company potluck? Ask someone, right? Find out about it, right? Usually you'll have a coworker or somebody that you're working with, and they're gonna be able to give you really helpful, useful, and kind advice, right? I think one of the kind of neat things about being here in Canada is that everybody has some really direct experience with immigration. Maybe our parents or our grandparents have immigrated, or maybe we ourselves have lived in another country and then come here, or been born here and moved and lived in another country. But there's a huge amount of empathy and understanding for people who are new to Canada and who aren't completely sure how to behave. So when you ask, I think you're very, very likely to get a kind and thoughtful answer to your question. So it's the same in the workplace. If you're not sure, you need to ask, even about really serious things like assignments, right? Are you having trouble meeting a deadline for some work that you have, right? Rather than like sitting painfully in your office and waiting for your boss to be angry, it's much better to go to your manager ahead of time and say, could I get an extension because I just can't finish this in time? Or could you ask someone to help me? It's a lot better to ask those questions ahead of time than to not ask and kind of worry and be anxious about what's happening. So those are a couple of things about working in Canada. You're very likely going to be in a team. The team is very likely to be diverse. You're going to be working with people who might be really different from you. But when you have questions, ask them politely, respectfully, and I know that you're going to find a comfortable fit in Canada. That's it for our employment tips segment for today. Thanks for watching. I'm Gwen Pawlikowski.
A few weeks ago, the Immigrants Magazine's program was invited to the Makings Happen event in Vancouver. A piece of art, Become a Woman, in this event. Take a look.
Ojos tienes debajo de esas dos cejas, debajo de esas dos cejas, qué bonitos ojos tienes. Ellos te quieren mirar, pero si tú no los dejas, pero si tú no los dejas, ni siquiera parpadear.
Hi, my name is Ari De La Mora. I'm celebrating with other artists the International Women's Day. The name of the event is Make It Happen. It's such an important day for all the community and for all the women to celebrate the achievements that we have accomplished. And what I'm painting right now, it's a painting representing the Mother Earth, and she's crying for us, and she's like a mother who takes care of us, but she's also concerned because of bad things that happen. And that's what I want to represent, the Mother Earth, the mother that will always be there for us, and because that's where we all come from.
When we edit our episodes, we select what is not going to be on air. Check it out, our behind the scenes, next.
Tú te mereces algo mejor, busca algo mejor, no te quedes ahí. Y yo hasta a veces discutía con ellos porque les decía, tengo la estabilidad económica, estoy bien, ahorita estoy bien, no he considerado nada. Pero tenía que venir un sacudo de alguna manera. Ahí hacemos un análisis financiero complementario y de acuerdo a eso pues definimos qué es lo mejor para él, con todas las cualidades que tenemos disponibles.
Christian Basantes' fate was to become an immigrant one day. He knew how to use his skills properly and be a winner. Congratulations, Christian. We're on Facebook and on Twitter. Kisses for you. Bye.
Nora Valdés te ofrece orientación y la información que necesitas para iniciar tu nueva vida aquí en Canadá. Para mayor información, llame al teléfono 604-351-0625. Problemas de relaciones interpersonales, separación, divorcio, problemas con niños, adolescentes y adultos.
Soy la doctora Yolanda Montoya, soy Clinical Counselor y mi teléfono es el 604-861-1071.
Porque uno mismo tiene que disciplinarse, levantarse, adoptar la disciplina por uno mismo de levantarse temprano todos los días, ¿verdad? Y de ahí, bueno, uno mismo tiene que buscar sus clientes, uno mismo tiene que buscar pues su mercado, ¿verdad? Ajá. Y eso ha sido lo desafiante, sí. Pero me ha gustado también el hecho de tener libertad, de tener, de uno mismo organizar sus... Exacto. Bueno, ocasionalmente yo había utilizado la línea telefónica de mi escritorio para llamar a Ecuador. Sí. Entonces eso, y cometí el error de no decirlo, entonces se vio como que yo estaba aprovechándome de los recursos de la universidad. Y en 3 días hubo una serie de reuniones.